Yo, it's time to subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. What are you doing?
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous.
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. Like the video. Come on.
Hell
you know
yeah.
the drill.
Button.
And slap that like button.
Woo!
Hey.
Welcome back to another Destiny 2 God Roll Guide, everybody. In today's video, we're talking about a brand new grenade launcher called the Undercurrent, or as some people might know it as the Forbearance 2.0. But is this grenade launcher better than the Forbearance? In my opinions, I think this is better than the Forbearance, and I definitely think it's worth your time to head into the Grandmaster Nightfall and farm for this weapon. What makes this grenade launcher better than the Forbearance? Well, we're gonna get into it, Guardians. First of all, if you're watching this video when it first drops, you have a little less than a week to farm the Grandmaster. It's double loot. So upon completion of the Grandmaster, you'll be getting 2 of these every single time they drop, and it will be the Adept version, which means you can put Adept mods on it, which is really nice. Now, one thing that is really nice about the Forbearance grenade launcher is that it is craftable, so you do not have to be at the mercy of RNG to get the roll that you want. But like I said, it's double loot. There's not a lot of perks that roll on the Undercurrent, so chances are if you put in just a little bit of effort, you'll probably get the roll that you want. Now, when it comes to the barrels and magazine on this, it literally does not matter. I've got multiple rolls with different barrels and magazines, and they all feel the same. This is a wave frame grenade launcher, so you're not going to be shooting your grenades directly at enemies. You're just going to be shooting them in the direction of enemies on the floor specifically. So the different barrels, they like change the stability and recoil direction and all that. Like I said, it does not matter. Any one of these will do. They all feel the same. When it comes to the magazines, you got high velocity rounds and implosion rounds. These 2 barrels don't really matter as well, but technically, I guess implosion rounds gives you a -10 to blast radius, so I would say go with high velocity rounds. That just increases your velocity and your reload speed. And reload speed on this grenade launcher is very, very important when it comes to the #1 pick for the perks that you're going to want on this. Now, in the first column of trait perks, you've got Lead from Gold, Field Prep, Stats for All, Ambitious Assassin, Eddy Current, and Demolitionist. Honestly, all these perks are pretty good for PvE. The only one I would say to stay away from is Eddy Current. Temporarily increases reload speed after sprinting. This effect is improved when you're amplified. The base reload speed on this grenade launcher is 69. Nice. Which is already pretty high, which is why, in my opinion, Eddy Current is pointless on this. Do not go for Eddy Current. Lead from Gold states that picking up heavy ammo also grants ammo to this weapon. Very good perk for PvE, especially when you're spamming this grenade launcher. Field Prep states that there's increased ammo reserves, faster reload, and stow and ready speed when you're crouching. Like I said before, the faster the reload on this grenade launcher, the better off you're going to be. Field Prep is a very good perk. Stats for All states that hitting 3 separate targets increases weapon handling, stability, and reload, and range for a moderate duration. Since this is a wave frame grenade launcher, you're pretty much going to be hitting 3 enemies all the time. Is having increased handling, stability, reload, and range absolutely essential on this? No, it is not. So I would say stay away from this as well. Then you've got Ambitious Assassin. Overflows the magazine based on the number of rapid kills before reloading. This is an S tier perk on this grenade launcher. All you need to do is land 1 kill, and as soon as you reload, you're going to get 2 shots in the magazine, and you can fire those shots back to back very quickly and pretty much clear an entire room with 2 waves. And then we've got the #1 pick in this column. In my opinion, it's Demolitionist. Demolitionist states that kills with this weapon generate grenade energy. Activating your grenade ability reloads this weapon from reserves. Now you're going to get 10% grenade ability energy back every time you get a kill, and since this is a wave frame, you're going to be killing multiple enemies all at one time. I was watching my friend's stream who had Demolitionist on his, and just with 1 shot he got a little bit more than half of his grenade back because he killed like 4, 5, 6 enemies all at once with this. So that is really, really nice to have, in my opinion. On top of just throwing your grenade will automatically reload this weapon. Demolitionist gets the #1 pick in this column, in my opinion. Moving on to the last column of trait perks, you've got High Ground. Grants a 20% increase to damage in PvE and a 10% damage increase in the Crucible. And all you gotta be doing is just standing a little bit above your enemy, like on a ledge. This perk is nice, but I mean, the extra damage isn't really necessary. I mean, you're not gonna be using this for boss damage or anything. So I would say stay away from this one. Attrition Orbs is another perk that I would say stay away from. states that dealing sustained damage creates an orb of power. In theory, this is a really cool perk, but Bungie didn't really make it that good. It's much easier to just create orbs with siphon mods and stuff like that on your armor. I don't think it's worth wasting a slot on one of your weapons. Then we've got Adrenaline Junkies. Weapon grants increased damage and handling from final blows with grenades or this weapon. Adrenaline Junkie is a good perk, but it's not really necessary, and I do believe that there's a better perk in this column that you want over this. But if you really like grenade spam, you could maybe pair this with Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie. Moving on, we've got Bait and Switch. Deal damage with all equipped weapons within a short time to give this weapon a damage boost. This is a 35% increase in damage for 10 seconds, as long as you hit an enemy with all your other weapons within 7 seconds. Now, Bait and Switch is a very, very good perk, but I gotta say, not on this weapon. You don't want to be doing boss damage with a waveframe grenade launcher. It just doesn't make sense. Bait and Switch is really the best when it's on a heavy weapon. So in my opinion, I would say stay away from this one. One for All states that hitting 3 separate targets increases damage for a moderate duration. And this is also a 35% increase to damage. This is going to be very, very good for ad clear. Since it's a waveframe, you're pretty much always going to be hitting 3 separate targets at once. So it's going to be very easy to proc. But I don't think it's better than the last perk that we're going to talk about, and that is Volt Shot. Volt Shot states that reloading this weapon after defeating a target overcharges this weapon for a short period of time, causing it to jolt on its next hit. So all you got to do is get 1 kill, and then your next weapon hit applies jolt and consumes the buff. Now, what does jolt do? Well, it states that the target is energized with a destructive arc light. They take additional damage while jolted and chain lightning to nearby targets, and jolt damage causes overload champions to be stunned. This, my friends, is the whole point that you guys want to be grinding for this. Like I said earlier in the video, I think that the Undercurrent grenade launcher is better than Forbearance, and it's because of this jolt perk. Whoever uses Forbearance, 100% of the time they're going to be crafting it with chain reaction on it. Chain reaction is going to cause enemies to explode, doing arc damage. And yes, it is a very, very good perk, very, very good for ad clear. But chain reaction does not apply jolt. And like I just stated, applying jolt to an enemy will cause them to take additional damage. And you know what? Some people aren't going to agree with me that this is better than the Forbearance, but hey, that's your opinion. This is my opinion. You don't have to do the raid to get this grenade launcher. The Grandmaster is Lake of Shadows. It's a very, very easy Grandmaster. There's a cheese spot at the end where you can just cheese the boss. Everybody should be jumping into the GM to grind out this grenade launcher. So what is the god roll for this? Well, I'm going to say go with Demolitionist and Volt Shot. That is the role that I'm going to be grinding for. Currently in the gameplay, you guys see my role that I have right now, which is Ambitious Assassin and Volt Shot. Still a very, very good role, but for my god roll, I'm still going to be grinding the Grandmaster to see if I can get that Demolitionist and Volt Shot. And then when it comes to the Masterwork, I would say go with a reload speed Masterwork, because Volt Shot only activates after you get a kill and then reload. The faster you can reload, the more times you can jolt targets with Volt Shot. And then since this job's from the GM, it is the Adept version, and you can put something like an Adept Big One spec on this grenade launcher. So Guardians, if you guys are new here, found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.